Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're jumping into a really fascinating puzzle from the Bible. You've got two different men, both called to a new life, and both ask for pretty much the same thing: a chance to say goodbye to their family. One gets the green light, but the other gets a hard no. So let's figure out what's going on here. Okay, so look at these two requests side by side. On the surface, they seem almost identical, don't they? Elisha wants to go kiss his parents goodbye. A guy who might follow Jesus wants to go bury his father. I mean, both sound totally reasonable, right? They seem like honorable things to do before you completely change your life. And this is the core of the mystery. Why the totally different answers? How come one guy gets a compassionate yes, while the other gets a no that sounds, well, kind of harsh? The answer isn't about playing favorites. It all comes down to context, commitment, and just how urgent the mission really was. All right, to crack this, let's open up our first case file. This one takes us way back to the Old Testament, to the book of 1 Kings and the story of a farmer named Elisha. So picture this. The legendary prophet Elijah is getting ready to pass the torch. He finds Elisha out working in a field, and without saying a single word, he walks up and drapes his cloak, his mantle, over Elisha's shoulders. Now, this was a huge deal. It was basically the ancient way of saying, "Tag, you're it, you're the next prophet." And Elisha gets it. He immediately understands the weight of what just happened. He doesn't argue, he doesn't hesitate, but he does have one simple, very respectful request. Hey, can I just pop over and say a proper goodbye to my mom and dad? Now, Elijah's response here sounds a little odd, right? Go back again. For what have I done to thee? But this wasn't him saying no. It was more like him saying, go on, but really think about what this means. The choice is yours now. He was testing Elisha's resolve, seeing if he truly understood the calling. And boy, does Elisha pass that test. He doesn't just kiss his parents goodbye, he throws a massive farewell party. He slaughters the very oxen he was just using, and then, get this, he takes his plowing gear, his entire career, and uses it as firewood for the cookout. Talk about burning your bridges. He made it literally impossible to go back to his old life. That is absolute commitment. So, Elisha, wow, he sets an incredibly high bar for what commitment looks like. Now, let's fast forward hundreds of years. We're opening our second case file, this time from the New Testament. We're going to see a really similar request, but as we're about to find out, the stakes are way, way higher. This time, the call isn't from a prophet, it's from Jesus himself. And it's so direct, so personal. Just two words: follow me. It's an invitation to be part of something that would change the world forever. And just like Elisha, this guy's first thought is his family. His request sounds like the most honorable thing in the world, a sacred duty even. Let me first go and bury my father. I mean, seriously, who could possibly say no to that? And yet, Jesus does. His reply is stunningly direct, and honestly, it seems incredibly harsh. Let the dead bury their dead. He basically shuts down the request and tells the man to get on with the mission. And this huge difference between Elijah's answer and Jesus' answer, well, that's the puzzle we're here to solve. Okay, to really get this, we have to do more than just read the words on the page. We have to become cultural detectives. The key here isn't just what was said, but what everyone at the time would have understood. And here it is, our first huge clue. When Elisha asked to say goodbye, his parents were alive and well. It was a quick, simple act of respect. But when the disciples said, "Let me go and bury my father," most experts agree his dad wasn't actually dead yet. This was a common phrase, an idiom, that meant something like, "Let me hang around at home until my father eventually dies and I get my inheritance." So he wasn't asking for an afternoon off for a funeral, he was asking for an indefinite delay that could have been years. And that changes everything, doesn't it? Elisha was fulfilling his duty as a final act of closure before diving headfirst into his new life. This other guy, though, he was using his duty as an excuse to put things off. One action says, "I'm all in." The other says, "Yeah, but not yet." And that brings us to the biggest difference of all. Who is doing the calling? Elijah was a great prophet, no doubt, passing the torch to his successor. But Jesus was presenting himself as the king, calling people to be citizens in his new kingdom. And in his teaching, loyalty to that kingdom came before everything else, even cherished family duties. The mission was just that much more urgent. But hold on, there's one final, absolutely brilliant piece of evidence that connects these two stories directly and just solves the whole thing. It's the final clue. And the best part is, we don't have to go digging for it. Jesus lays it all out for us just a couple of verses later. He basically hands us the key that unlocks this whole puzzle, connecting his teaching directly back to that old story of Elisha. And there it is. Jesus uses the specific image of a plow. Now, where have we just seen a plow? With Elisha. This is absolutely not a coincidence. Jesus is directly pointing back to that story. He's holding up Elisha's commitment, the guy who left his plow and never looked back, as the new minimum standard for anyone who wants to follow him. So, let's put it all together. Jesus basically says, remember that story about Elisha? How committed he was? How he destroyed his plow and walked away without a second thought? Well, that's the baseline. He's raising the stakes. If following a prophet required that kind of dedication, he argues, then following the king himself demands an even more immediate, more total commitment. When the kingdom of God shows up, there's just no time for someday. So, this tale of two farewells is really a powerful lesson about priority and purpose. And it leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on, doesn't it? In our own lives, what's the plow we've put our hand to? What's the thing that's so important it demands our full focus, with no looking back?